Hi everyone, I'm Bob Drenoff, Commissioner of the East Coast Conference. Throughout the week, our ECC staff members will be bringing you a video each day releasing the preseason polls and the results of the Player of the Year voting. Now let's start with our first sport, cross country. We begin cross country on the women's side. Coming in at the number 8 spot in the coach's preseason poll is the University of Bridgeport. Graduate student Sarah Santos returns to lead the Purple Knights after taking 8th place at last year's ECC Championship. At number 7 is conference newcomer University of the District of Columbia. Last year's MVP Kanisha Hollis will help the Firebirds be competitive in their initial season in the ECC. Next up, at number 6 is Queens College. Indira Avila, a 3-time All-Conference team member, will pace the Knights as they try to win their second ECC championship in 3 years. In the number 5 spot is the New York Institute of Technology. Senior Jackie Toek, a second-place finisher in last year's ECC championships, looks to lead the Bears to a fantastic season and a return trip to the NCAA championship. Now to the top half of the poll and number 4 spot, which is occupied by Dowling College. The Golden Lions, who finished 3rd in the last year's ECC championships, return Alyssa Ligori, a 2-time ECC Runner of the Week and a second-team All-Conference member in 2010. The 3rd spot in the poll belongs to CW Post. The Pioneers will look to improve on their 4th-place finish at last year's ECC Championship with a roster that includes 3 runners who have earned a spot on the All-Conference squad over the past 2 years. At the number 2 spot is the Molloy College Lions. 2010 All-Conference runners Caitlin Breen and Alexandra Barrett return to pace the Lions. That leaves St. Thomas Aquinas, last year's ECC Women's Cross Country champions, as the coach's pick to finish in the top spot in 2011. The Lady Spartans are led by 2010 ECC Coach of the Year Nicole Ballou, and they will attempt to repeat as champions. Helping their cause will be the return of their top runners from last season, including ECC Runner of the Year Sarah Callaghy and ECC Rookie of the Year Keely Bateman. Conference's coaches also predict history will repeat itself by voting St. Thomas Aquinas' Sarah Callaghy as the Women's Cross Country Preseason Runner of the Year. Sarah, a senior from Poughkeepsie, New York, won last year's ECC Championship with a time of 19 minutes and 14 seconds, outpacing the runner-up by over 8 seconds. Now on to the men's cross-country preseason coaches poll. We start with the number 8 spot and the Purple Knights from the University of Bridgeport. Led by head coach Mike Ruan, the Purple Knights will look to improve upon their 7th place finish from a year ago. Next up at number 7 is Queens. Max Gazzara, the Knights' top finisher in the 2010 ECC Championships, is one of 9 returners for Queens this fall. Number 6 in the poll is St. Thomas Aquinas. The Spartans returned 7 runners and add 3 newcomers to a squad that placed 5th at last year's ECC Championships. Due to a tie, we skip ahead to the 4th spot in the poll, where we have New York Institute of Technology and the University of the District of Columbia. 2010 ECC Runner of the Year Elphys Kimutai and Nicholas Coyette will set the pace for NYIT this fall. UDC, who competes in the ECC for the first time this year, is led by Hillary Mungun. Mungun, who set the Bowie State Invitational course record, was the team's MVP last year. That brings us to the number 3 spot in the poll and the Dowling College Golden Lions. Dowling, who placed 4th at last year's ECC Championships, will be led this year by Terrence McElhatton. McElhatton finished 15th at last year's ECC Championships. At number 2 is Molloy College. With Nick Filipazzo taking home ECC Rookie of the Year honors, the Lions finished 2nd at the ECC Championships for the 2nd straight year in 2010. ECC second-team All-Conference member Ryan Healy also returns this season. And in the top spot, the coaches have selected CW Post to earn their 3rd consecutive ECC Men's Cross Country Championship. Coached by Rob Morris, the Pioneer squad that won last year's championship remains largely intact in their attempt for a three-peat. Led by top finisher Christian Altamura, CW Post returns 5 runners who earned All-Conference honors a year ago. Like the women's side, the conference coaches have picked last year's Men's Runner of the Year to repeat that honor again in 2011. Elphys Kimutai from NYIT takes home the preseason honor after taking 1st place in last year's ECC Championships with a time of 25 minutes and 28 seconds. Be sure to log on to our website, eccsports.org, and our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages tomorrow for the next sport in our 5-part series, Women's Tennis.